Hello, my friends. It's your brother Zen bringing you more messages of love from above. In today's video, we're going to be looking over the solar plexus chakra, which is the third chakra in the chakra system. And I'm going to do a pick a card reading. So we'll do 3, which will be the yellow Jasper crystal wand, the luminous yellow candle, and then also the yellow crystal ball here. So that'll be number 1, number 2, and number 3. First we'll talk about the solar plexus chakra. Okay, first we'll talk about the solar plexus chakra, and I'll pin this card up here so you could see it even better. But what this card represents, you'll see at the very top, it talks about self-discovery. So where the root chakra was more about the tribal, looking at the external groups and world around us, then we moved into the orange chakra, which is the second one, which is the sacral chakra. That one's more about relationships. So it's more about one-on-one with an individual rather than with a group. And then as we move into the third chakra, this solar plexus chakra, that's about my relationship with myself, or your relationship with yourself, not the external, but getting to know the inner you. So of course the color is yellow. The location is just above the navel area. The function of this solar plexus chakra really has to do with willpower and our power of choice. And then kind of the spiritual theme of it is more the choice to unconditionally love the world, kind of connecting to that higher love that we are, and choosing that rather than choosing the fear of losing conditional love. In the inner balanced state of this chakra is laughter and joy, but it can also be anger. And I'll talk more about that in just a moment. So with this being the third step, going from the red chakra to the orange chakra to the yellow chakra, it's in this step of the soul journey that we remember and use our power of choice, and where we're able to change our habits. So our experiences focus on the internal instead of the external. And I've talked about in my previous videos around the chakra system, where we're moving from the lower kind of fear-based red chakra, moving toward the purple or violet crown chakra, and how they kind of, if you start at either side and move toward the middle, we meet in the heart chakra. So where this is the third one in with the yellow chakra, when you start from the top and move toward the heart chakra, we basically end up in the throat chakra, which is the blue chakra. So when you enter this yellow solar plexus chakra, your power of choice allows you to see how your decisions have impacted your life. And when you bring in the blue throat chakra into the mix, we become bolder in sharing our thoughts of unconditional love that directly confront our beliefs born from conditional love laws. So that revelation of empowering choice with this chakra, with the ability to communicate unconditional love through our blue chakra, combines to ignite the color green, because yellow plus blue equals green. So the whispers of love continue to become louder and clearer, and the knowledge of the unseen world makes itself visible. Basically, we choose to see it, we choose to act on it, and that sparks more attention to an interest in the spiritual realm, because that's where in the heart chakra is what starts to ignite that unconditional love, and it just unfolds and transforms our entire lives. As you'll see, the overall theme up here in the upper right-hand corner talks about I act. The throat chakra allows me to act without condition. So as you become grounded in who you really are, that powerful, supernatural, eternal spirit being made of unconditional love, as you become grounded in that, you begin to act out of a stable sense of worth based on an unchanging, internal, unconditional love versus acting out of conditional love with its need for external recognition and external attention. In the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see the little symbol there. That's a sun. So where the root chakra had a red bull, which is, it sees its fear and it sees red and it charges, it just reacts. And where the orange was kind of a sunrise or a sunset, in that one we began to see our emotions and realize, hey, there's two of me in here and I don't have to react, I can kind of respond instead. In this one where it's the yellow sun, the sun is overhead. You feel the heat of your emotions, but a great amount of light also shines down on them. So we're given clarity, and which enables us to make calm, new choices rather than the same old reactive, fear-based choices. In the middle of the card, you'll see this is kind of the awareness. It's power of choice. So the first two chakras bring awareness that, we're here to experience all our emotions. So with that knowledge encompassed within this third chakra, we realize that we have the power to choose what we feel through each experience. So free will becomes very real to us. And the kind of the little descriptions below that are change habits and willpower. So discovering our power to choose, that I don't have to just react. I get to, if I hold on and stop, I can actually choose what I want to feel and choose what I want to do rather than just going along with the supposed to. So discovering this power to choose, it brings new energy to transform old habits of feeling and choosing into new ones. And it talks about here the supposed to be and should. We realize that we no longer have to live our lives by the supposed to be and should and need to, have to, all those expectations that we've been conditioned with in our past. We begin to question what we believe about ourselves, the world, and others. And that brings us into the new reality, which was the next one, where we realize that every moment is either of unconditional love or the fear of losing conditional love. So life becomes simpler. It's not like, oh my gosh, there's so many choices to make. Actually, there's just two in every moment. I can choose actions and feelings of unconditional love, or I can continue to choose those fear-based emotions of fight or flight, of conditional love, of the fear of losing, the attention and love of others, or the fear of being rejected. And because of that, the next item is turning down fear noise. So as we become grounded in who we really are, we fear less. We realize our worth is based on unconditional love rather than the external validation of what I call a retail price. What we perceive our worth is to others by their actions, by their unstable actions and reactions and all of that. So with this solar plexus chakra, how you can balance it, it involves calming our emotions and frustrations, easing the tension, and learning to more clearly utilize our intuition. So to balance this chakra, we can focus on the color yellow, whether you can wear yellow clothes, buy some yellow flowers, or even like add a yellow picture as the wallpaper on our computer or mobile phone, our cell phones. And so we're constantly seeing that color yellow. It just brightens our soul. Spending some time outside, letting the sunshine, on our bodies and let it just permeate our souls, shedding light, throughout our entire being. On the left-hand side, it also mentions meditation. I unconditionally love the world. That's a part of a 4-part meditation that I talk about quite a bit, which I'll link in the description box below on there. So, but basically it starts off, being grounded in that I am unconditionally loved by the creator of all things. Letting that fill us up to where we realize that I am actually unconditional love myself. I'm made of unconditional love. When that fills us all up and is flowing outside of us, then that love flows out to the world, to where the meditation is I unconditionally love the world, which is this one that it focuses on. And then, of course, the 4th piece is we realize that the world is actually made of unconditional love as well, just like we are, everything outside of us. So it's a wonderful balancing piece of choosing to, ground ourselves in that unconditional love, realizing we are unconditional love. And with the chakra, that love flows out to the world where I can start making new choices about how I interact with the external world as well. And that all comes back to that self-discovery. So hopefully that brought a little bit of, clarity into our moments today, and that we can, choose that balanced state of laughter and joy. And it's okay to experience, both choices. There's days that we choose that unconditional love. There's moments we choose that unconditional love, and the next moment, whoosh, something draws me out into that conditional kind of state of fear. But there's no judgment with that. It's just taking a deep breath, coming back to that 4-step meditation of I am unconditionally loved. I am unconditional love. I unconditionally love the world. The world is unconditional love. It just brings us back into that peaceful, joyful, loving state, rather than that anxiety and anger and fear and sadness and all that wonderful emotions that come with fear. So hopefully this just brings a little bit of clarity into your day, and we'll go ahead and go into the reading. If you chose the yellow, I think this is yellow Jasper crystal wand, then this is the reading for you. I'll go ahead and move this over to here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off with picking just a card for the overall message, and I'm going to pick a card from here because this is kind of grounding, kind of like the crystal connecting, the stone. So I'm going to pick a card from here, which is the Angels and Ancestors Oracle card by Kyle Gray. See what messages the Creator has for you today. All right, what message does the Creator have for you for this moment when you have come across this video? These are timeless, of course, so it always is fitting for whenever you come across it, which is amazing how the spirit world works. There's no time or space. There we go. This one jumped out here. This one, if you can see that, zoom in there. So this one is the Protection Guardian. Drop your shields. I'll go ahead and put that right here for now. And I'm just going to read from the little book here. And before I actually read that, just intuitively what I'm picking up from that is, drop your shields. One of the things with, this whole solar plexus chakra, it has to do with the choices that we make. And, when we are in the fear emotions, we're in that fight or flight mode. So one of the ways that I know when I'm kind of reacting instead of responding is that when I feel the need to defend and my walls go up and I'm like, I feel threatened. I only feel threatened when I feel there's something that I can lose. And, sure, people can take away possessions from me, or, even take away my life if they, shoot me or something like that. But they can never take away my soul, my eternal soul, which is made of unconditional love. And if I base my whole beingness in this world on that internal, unconditional love, unconditional is no conditions, nothing can take it away. So no one can ever really take away the most important thing to me. People can try to force me to believe something, and if my life is threatened and I feel like, oh, you know what, I'll make them believe it on the outside that I believe that, but you can never know what I'm really truly believing on the inside. So even then, people can't force me to believe anything that I don't, really believe. There was this, I heard a story once where there was this, 3 brothers in the back seat in this family cross-country trip, and the little boy, 2-year-old, was in the middle, and he was just causing a ruckus to where his parents, said, come on, get up in the front seat with us. And he was standing up and he wouldn't sit down and put on his seatbelt. And he was refusing, how often we do in our twos, trying to be independent, and you're not gonna, make me sit down. And then they threatened to take away his favorite toys. And suddenly that changed his mind. And he decided that rather than lose his toys, he was going to sit down. And he sat down, buckled his seatbelt, but he said, I may be sitting down on the outside, but I'm standing up on the inside. So it's always such a clear picture for me of going, yep, no one can ever make me internally do what I don't want to do, even though externally I might make that choice. So that's what I really picked up with that. Drop your shields. It's like I can drop my external shields because I am safe on the inside. No one can ever make me do anything I don't want to do. So the message on this card from the little book here is drop any shields of shame, resistance, and fear that are standing between you and your chances of enjoyment and fun. Know that you don't need to hide who you are or the gifts that you have. You were born to shine. The protection guardian is a female or feminine version of the Archangel Michael. She is a fierce, protective, yet loving warrior angel who carries an indestructible shield of power and protection and will come to all who call on her. She will help you drop your fear-based shields and move into a loving, protective force field that will keep you safe, but will allow your gifts to shine out. Although she is here to guard you from lower energies, she is completely relaxed, serene, and confident because she trusts that love will always prevail. That's an awesome message. And the extended message for the card says, you may have encountered shame or embarrassment in your past, but that is not your present. Angels are drawing close at this time to help you move beyond any limiting thoughts, emotions, and patterns that may be making you feel unsafe. Know that angelic protection is swirling around you at this moment and will help you move forward in a more fearless way. Call on your guides for help in changing your frequency so you can feel safe and protected at this time. You are stronger than you think, and your angels and ancestor guides are here to help you realize this now. Beautiful, beautiful. I like that. Next I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a card from I have this Oracle deck that I'm working on with the Creator, and they have like 7 separate stacks, and of course the third stack is yellow, which has to do with the solar plexus chakra. But this also tells us, what's at the root of our emotion. So I'm just going to pull a card from here and see what additional message we have for that. What additional message do we have for those that chose the wand? The magic wand. All right, almost. I feel it coming here. Please make it obvious for us. Oh, okay. So they just told me to cut it in half because that represents like 2 choices. Like I have 2 candles. There's 2 choices. So you have the new moon and fight or flight, where this is the freeze and flight. So basically the message I'm getting from here, which is amazing, is there's a choice before you. You can choose the new moon, which the new moon is basically, when you have a restart, when you have, you've gone through the cycle of where, we have this idea of what will fulfill us, which is kind of represented by the full moon. And so, the new moon is when you set new intentions. And so when you kind of go through the cycles and you reach the full moon, when we move away from the full moon, what we thought was going to fulfill us, what we thought was going to make us whole, and all those supposed tos and shoulds of when this happens, I'll be happy. And then when it does happen, we're like, oh, I'm not as fulfilled as I thought I was going to be. So that whole full circle comes around to the new moon, where having gone through that cycle, we get to revisit, that full cycles of the moon that we just went through, and we get to look on it and go, okay, this is what I thought, this is what I felt, this is what I learned. Now what new choices am I going to make? So the new moon is kind of new intentions, new choices, new awarenesses. So that's one choice we have. And the other choice is, basically ignited by the, fear. Because what fear does is it ignites us into either fight or the freeze and or flee. So we either become very still and quiet and shrink, hopefully not to get noticed by the giant emotional dinosaur that we think is going to attack us, or we run like crazy away from it. So what they're showing with these 2 cards coming up is we have a choice with whatever's going on in your life, whether it's political or a relationship or job related or health related, whatever it might be, whatever is at this fork in the road, why this power of, this choice that we have, you can either choose to go, okay, life is happening for me, and what have I learned from it, and what new intentions and new choices and new intentions or, new paths I'm going to go on, or life happens to me and I'm freaking out and I'm going to run from it and hide and become small, which is not who you are. This is empowering, and this is shrinking. So we have a choice, and there's no wrong choice. It's like, Coke or Pepsi, it's less filling, tastes great, less filling. What are we going to choose is totally up to each one of us. So if you chose the yellow Jasper wand, this is what's coming for you right now. And I have a smaller deck of this. I'm going to go ahead and pull some cards from here for some clarity and additional direction for us there. All right, what additional messages do you have for us? Whoa, that's a bit much, but let's go ahead and we'll take these. So funny, this is the little card that I just pulled from those. So that's a definitely a little message here to give us additional pieces. So the first card that came up here is disappointment. And what this card represents, this is like one of our root fears. I love the image that they had given me for this, because disappointment is totally about weather. You know, when we try to control the weather, it's supposed to be sunny today and it's not. What do you do with that? You know, when you wanted snow because you wanted to ski, but it didn't snow. What do you do with that? I wanted rain for my yard, you know, to water it and get moisture so I don't have to water it and pay for the water bill, but it didn't. So everyone has a different idea of what weather should be today, to, you know, based on their, you know, circumstances. But what's wonderful, Spirit gives us the escape route, or how to transform these fear-based emotions into love and joy, you know, and peace, is to let go. So the little umbrella there talks about letting go of our expectations of, one, trying to control the weather, but also letting go of our, you know, our old way of thinking on this. You know, it should not snow in June. Well, if it does, it does. You know, it wasn't supposed to rain today because I was having, you know, a barbecue or a wedding, outdoor wedding. You know, when we let go of our attachment to what that means about us, any of those external things mean about us, then we get that freedom to enjoy what is happening in the moment, rather than kind of going through all those, you know, fight or flight emotions of fear, when we focus on that it didn't turn out the way that it should have. What's cool is the next card that popped out was the power of thank you. And this is an awesome card to follow this one, because rather than focus on what is not happening the way we're supposed to, we can focus and be thankful for what is. And, you know, I'm kind of an optimist, and it irritates some people in my life at some points, you know, when people wanted to, you know, sit within the quagmire of their misery and, you know, roll around in it. You know, one of the things I learned is I allow people to experience what they want to experience, but I also can, in any moment, focus on what I am thankful for. You know, getting a flat tire, you know, it's a choice between getting upset and kicking the tire and thinking, why is this happening to me? Why is life happening to me? But I can also go, okay, you know, there's a reason why this is happening for me. Maybe it's keeping me from getting a speeding ticket because I went by a police officer at that exact, you know, time that they were there with their little speed guns, right? Or maybe it kept me from getting in a fatal accident, or, you know, maybe the accident's not fatal for me, but I end up taking someone's life, you know, all those things. I mean, we never think about what we can be thankful for in a moment when we're taught all these things should happen in a certain way. So I can be thankful for, you know, like there's a country song when I was growing up, you know, I thank God for unanswered prayers. Sometimes it's like, okay, I don't know what is the best because I'm in it, but the Creator has a, you know, the big picture view. He's up there looking down and seeing the whole picture, understanding what everything is happening, why everything is happening. And so I trust, and I can be thankful, and I can choose to be thankful. And I find, you know, in my life, when whenever I feel down or I'm feeling anxiety or fear or stress or anything along those lines, if I just kind of use this power of choice we have with the solar plexus chakra and just go, I'm going to choose to be thankful for one thing. What is it? Okay, I woke up today. I can be thankful for that. I've got 2 legs that work. I can be thankful for that, and just start listing all the things I can be thankful for. The other card here, which talks about cruelty, and what this really is bringing up for me, when we take sides, we think, oh, those people are the pirates. Those people are those others are the cruel, mean people that are doing the things they shouldn't. And cruelty is even an extreme. It's not just they're doing something bad. They're doing something cruel, like Cruella de Vil, who kills puppies for her fur. We can take a stance in our shoulds and supposed to be so much that, we end up having enemies. When we see that flag, oh no, there comes the enemy. And then we react in fear. But what Spirit gives us is this overthrow the dictator. And what that does and what that means is not to literally overthrow people that we think are dictators, but a mirror comes back to us that shows us that we are the dictator. We're trying to rule the world. We're trying to make it be the way we want it to be. We are trying to be, this hero. We think that's going to save the day from all these cruel people, but we don't realize that in every drama, there's a victim, a hero, and a villain. And even though we're not intending to be raising this flag, this is what some people see when they see us coming. We're like, uh-oh, here they come to try to dictate and try to make us be who they want us to be. Yay. And maybe we run. But what it shows us is that those feelings that we feel when we experience others' actions are really a mirror and an echo inside us to have us realize, wait a minute, if I let go of that control, if I let go of these expectations, I can see people as they are. And rather than being a dictator, I can rule my inner world. I can rule my choices about my emotions and about my actions, and let go of everyone else's. Let go of all those definitions I'm putting on everyone else's actions that I think I'm seeing, that and that brings us freedom. The last card that came out in here is the unknown, and and on the bottom here it talks about, do you trust me? Let go. Funny, let go on this one and let go on this one. I think we're getting a message here. We need to let go. But what the fear of the unknown is that we don't trust. And it comes back to the, all these expectations we have. When we fear the unknown, we fear that we're going to be out of control of whatever's coming. And we definitely can feel out of control when we're in fear, because we're trying to control all these external things. We're trying to control the weather. And how out of control do we feel when we try to control the weather and it doesn't do what we want it to do? There's no, way that we can ensure that of all these external things that we control. But where the do you trust me, let go comes in, is do we trust the Creator? Do we trust that life is happening for us and not to us? And so we can jump off this picture here in the bottom where it shows a little tiny person jumping off of a cliff into water. Always brings to me this picture of a little kid with the floaties on his arm standing on the side of a pool, and either the mother or father is in the pool and they're holding out their hands and they're saying, come on, jump, you're safe, I got you. And when they leap off and they leap into the water, and, the floaties are there and the water's soft, and, the parent, keeps them from falling deep into the water, and it's fun and it's enjoyable. And we can have that feeling if we trust the Creator and go, you know what? These external things that are happening, though they may not be matching up to my expectations, whether it's, someone's not showing me love I want them to show me, the job's not going the way I thought it should, political results aren't showing up the way I want them to be, the virus happening isn't, going away fast enough than I think it should be, or, anything that's happening on the outside world. If I can just trust that the Creator is holding out his hands and saying, just jump into my arms, trust that everything is unfolding for your highest experience here, and that you get to choose what anything externally means about you. And that's where we get our power back, is when we let go of all those external things, what they mean about us, and we go into our insides to that unconditional love, knowing that I get to choose what anything means about me, and that the unconditional love of the Creator of all things, what that Creator has for me, is what I define myself by. Then it's smooth sailing. Then what other weather comes, I will weather it. Literally, whatever weather comes, whatever external storms seem to come, we'll be fine. We're going to get through no matter what else happens outside of us, because we get to choose what it means. So no matter what weather comes, I get to choose to be happy about it or not. And I get to experience whatever emotions come with that. So lastly, I'm going to pick a card here from The Universe Has Got Our Back, because it's always a lovely, encouraging message, which we can always use. And then I'm going to pick a chakra love card as well. All right. What additional message do you have for us, Creator, for those that picked the yellow wand? Okay, this one's really jumping out to me here. And I'll let you see that there, and then I'll read it to you there. So it says, in any moment, I can surrender to the powerful presence of love through prayer, contemplation, and stillness. Let go, surrender. I think that is the message that we have there. So I'm going to put that over top of this one here, because we can surrender. All right. And then lastly, I'm going to pick a card from these little chakra love cards. And what I've done is I've only I picked out they're all based on the chakras, and since we're talking about the yellow chakra today, I only chose the yellow chakra and any balancing one. So we'll go ahead and pull one final message here to end your reading today. All right, this one's jumping out to me. Fearlessness. Turn your worrier into a warrior. Beautiful. Let's put that right here. So hopefully this brought a little bit of joy, peace, and love into your moment right now. And if this resonated with you and you enjoyed it, if you wouldn't mind clicking the little like button below, that does help out my channel. And if you want to be notified and continue to help out my channel as well, if you click the subscribe button and click the be notified for all, then you'll get notified when I do another reading. So I wish you all the best, all the peace, all the love, all the joy that you can handle, because we definitely deserve it. 2020 has been an amazing, eye-opening, clarifying year for us. So just hang in there and know that you are loved. You take care. If you chose reading number 2, which is the yellow luminous candle, then this is the reading for you. We're going to go ahead and move this over here. All right, I'm going to start off by pulling a card from this Return of the Spirit deck, just because light made me feel, a lit burning candle made me think of just spirit and the movement of spirit. So we'll start off seeing what overall message the Creator has for us on there. All right, Creator, what message do you have for the yellow candle people? All right, I really feel this one is jumping out to us here. And this one is prayers. You can see that. There we go. And I'll read from the little book, but I'm going to start off just what I'm intuitively getting from this is that, especially with the solar plexus chakra, when we're talking about choices, and if you listen to the portion at the beginning where I talked about the solar plexus, it's about I act. And what I'm really picking up from this is, there's times in our life when things are going on in other people's lives or the world, and we feel helpless. Like there's nothing I can physically do to help them. Like my mom, she's a prayer warrior. And I mean, there's amazing things that happen when we send out prayers with love, with unconditional love. And, when you realize that whenever you feel helpless, you have this aching in your heart and it feels like your heart is tight. What happens when, we're these unconditionally loving beings full of power, and when we see someone in what we, our human mind shows in need, that activates that compassion, that love within us, that we want to do something to try to help people. And when we're unable to act out in the physical world some way, it's almost like you have, one of those garden hoses where you've turned on the spigot, but the little sprayer isn't on. So it's like, you feel that the hose starts to tighten because the pressure is building up inside it. And that's kind of how I feel like when that love energy is starting to flow within our soul and it's not going anywhere. It just feels like it's like tightening and tightening and tightening. But what's wonderful is like with prayer, with intention and meditation, whatever way that you send love out to a person or a situation or the world, when we do that, we open up that spiritual valve that allows all that love energy to flow out. So prayer, not prayer asking things from God, here's my list of things that I need to happen, but reaching out and sending love out to a situation, saying, thy will be done, whatever choice that soul wants to make, allow me to send love to that situation, unconditional love, just sending it out. And even sometimes when the person or the people are not open to, supposedly receiving that love from us, the soul behind the person, that higher being behind the person is always like, send it, please, I'll use it. Even though this character that's being, that you're seeing in the physical world is being, no, I don't want any help and leave me alone, and rah, rah, rah. The soul behind the person's going, just send it, and then that soul, our higher being behind us, will use that love in the situation to help plant those seeds of love rather than fear. And you'll see it. You'll see situations start to calm when we're sending love out to the world instead of fear. It's funny, because I was just reading something this morning too about how they've measured, like on 9/11, when they have this way to kind of measure a type of energy that's, happens that they can actually measure in the world. And it like spiked, even though there was nothing happening, within the planets or the sun or magnetic fields or anything like that. But the magnetic kind of field kind of stuff actually changed on that day because of everyone's emotions. And so our emotional energy does impact the world, and sending that love through prayer can change a situation. It literally can. They've actually have measured it through science, which is amazing, right? All right, so let me read what the book actually says about prayer here real quick. And it says, "You are being heard. Your guides and angels are acknowledging your prayers, thoughts, and communication with them. This is their way of affirming to you that your messages are getting through to them loud and clear. It is easy to feel as though you are not being heard at times, mainly because the communication feels as though it is only one way. This is exactly why the prayers card has come to you today. Every time you pray or talk to your guides and angels, you are opening up a direct line of communication with them. Although they cannot answer you in the form of words, they are sending you energetic and intuitive replies. Take time after your prayers to sit quietly. Feel your own energy and the energy within the room. You will start to find that you are becoming more sensitive to their presence, and may also start to tune in to divine messages they have for you. If you have not been speaking to your guides and angels, then this card has come to you to encourage you to do so. Relationships take effort on both sides, and they are wanting to build their relationship with you. Talking with your spirit talking with spirit is a powerful way to feel supported, connected, and cared for, especially when we are feeling alone in our physical world. Usually when this card appears, it is because you are much more able than most to hear the messages of spirit. Prayer is a powerful building block in strengthening your intuitive gifts. Begin looking for replies and answers to your prayers in your everyday world as well. Spirit is reaching out to communicate back to you now. Wow. A wonderful message. The Holy Spirit of the Creator wants to communicate with you, your angels, your guides, people you have, known and loved in this world that have passed also, want you to know that you're not alone and they're always around you. So what an amazing, amazing message that is. Leave that to the side. Next, I'm going to pull a card from the stack of my Oracle deck. You can see it surrounded in yellow. This is actually the one that deals with the solar plexus chakra, and it kind of tells us here what is at the root of our emotions. So what is at the root of the things that we're feeling right now? So for you that chose the luminous candle, what additional message do we have to understand what's at the root of our emotions right now? Okay, and I really feel like this one is it here. This is the half moon. You can see it's the number 8 here, and it's in the form of a number 8, which what this card represents is cycles. And it talks about, when the full moon is coming, we can see that the light is on this side. The light is starting to come here, and then we reach the full moon, and then the light starts to leave and go in the opposite direction. That's the whole cycles of the full moon, is that, we start off with the new moon, which is, we can hardly see it, to where it comes all the cycle to the full moon and then goes. So we can look at life as, is life half full or is life half empty? It all depends on where we're at in the cycle of our emotions. Because in the beginning, when, the light starts to come, we start to see, the little sprouts of any seeds we planted are starting to grow, because we're headed towards that fullness we think we're going to have with a full moon. And we start to become impatient sometimes a little, and we will grab onto the leaves of the little plants, go, come on, try to make it grow, and then whereas when we've reached the full moon and the light is leaving, we start to realize, okay, what we thought was going to fulfill us with the full moon really didn't. It left us still wanting. And we start to, as the light is leaving, we start to look at, what is it that I really wanted, and what do I think will really fulfill me? And it just brings us through these cycles of, like it says, the 8, it's coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. All this cycle of life takes us through all these things, what we think is supposed to fulfill us, and then it doesn't. What does it teach us? Okay, now this is what I think will fulfill me. Nope, it didn't. Now what is it supposed to teach me? And it's just this cycle of contrast between kind of that disappointment in the external world versus the fulfillment we reach when we start looking inside of ourselves for our fulfillment, rather than those unstable things on the outside. External things are unstable. People change or pass away. Situations never stay the same. And things break, deteriorate, or are stolen. So when we depend on those external things to fulfill us, our life is, the waves. But when we go and move into the inside, where we find that unconditional love, the never changing, consistent, full, unconditional love, then we have those smooth waters. We have that peace and that love and that calm. So that is the message that comes with that card there. Next, I'm going to pull just some clarifying cards from the Oracle deck that I'm working on with the Creator. And we'll see what additional messages the Creator has for the luminous yellow candle people. All right. What additional messages do you have for us, Creator? What additional messages would you like to bring today? Okay, fill that one. Okay, fill that one, and then this one's too. All right, so the first card is the planet Venus, and I'll kind of show that up there if you want to be able to look at all the stuff I'm about to read off of there. So it talks about Venus, of course, is known of the goddess of love, but what the planet Venus brings to us is our style of love. It talks about love style. It's our relationships, what we see as beauty. It also has to do with finances and kind of worth in there. The planet Venus rules the 2 signs of Taurus, which are the dates of usually around 420 to 520, and Libra, which is usually between 923 and 1022. So if those dates have anything that are special for you, that stand out for you, just realize that this card is bringing those situations up to you. Or if you have someone Taurus or Libra in your life, or you are a Taurus and Libra, or anyone that has those in their charts, then that's bringing that person and that individual to you for the situation. Maybe it's someone that needs your prayer. Maybe it's someone that needs some extra love in their life because of some cycles they're going through. Taurus talks about sensuality and romance, patience, stubbornness, and depression. Those are some things that are some characteristics of a Sun Taurus. For Libra, they're more social, charming. They look for the ideal courtship. They focus on beauty and justice. So what I feel this card is coming up for us in this, because this reading is focusing on the solar plexus chakra and our power to choose, then what this card is focusing on is really for you to look at, what are your choices of love? How are you loving? What is those choices bringing to you? Are you loving with all these conditions, or are you loving unconditionally? And you can know that by, how are you feeling? In the moment, are you feeling joy and peace and that warmth of love, like a wonderful yellow warm candle? Or are you feeling, anger, anxiety, sadness? If those, then that means that you're either loving yourself or others conditionally. There's something that is happening that you think should be happening that's not. When you choose to love yourself unconditionally, you let go of all those expectations, all those conditions of love, and you allow yourself just to be. You start to see that beauty of who you really are. One of my favorite messages that I get often is when I'm looking for the perfect person, if I close my eyes and open my heart, I see the perfect person. And that's because I stop judging, I stop contrasting who they're supposed to be by who I think they are. And that's what our fear ego loves to do. It loves to contrast, it loves to compare, it loves to see where we're falling short or other people are falling short. But when we get rid of all those expectations, then we allow people to be who they are. We allow them to love. And that's like when I send out prayers, when I send love to people, I don't send out love to go, okay, I want, it's like putting in an order. I want that person to feel this way, so God, make that happen. It's like, what if that person doesn't want to feel that way? Or what if that's not, what is for the highest, benefit of them for their experience here? I have no idea. That's why I always say, thy will be done, the will of that soul and the will of the Creator. Let that will be done. I'm just sending love to energize that situation and surround it with love, so that whatever that love can do, let it be done. So that's that first card there, is focusing on how am I loving? How am I loving? The next card here is the Lackey card, which you can see there's a piece that's missing in the middle. And what I love is with these cards, the Creator gives us a way to transform those kind of emotions of lack and fear into love, peace, and joy. And it talks about gratitude. So kind of building on this one here, whenever we're looking at life and we look at life as things aren't happening the way I think they're supposed to, or I don't have the things in my life that I feel I'm supposed to, whether it's a job, a person, a possession, a situation, whatever those things might be. When I feel that my life is incomplete, that is a trigger for me to go, why do I feel that way? Why? What condition of my lovability and acceptability is not being met, and where did that come from? And so I can look into that to find out, why do I feel less? Why do I feel like I'm lacking? What do I feel I'm missing? People, you hear it all the time, oh, I miss you. And I'm like, some of my friends get irritated with me because I usually say, like if they say, I miss you and love you, I go, I love you too. And they go, you don't miss me? And I'm like, I don't think we're missing anything. I think we're full and complete. We're taught to believe we're less than or missing something, or, that we're empty somehow. But really we're not. We are complete and whole. We have the unconditional love of the Creator of all things living inside us. We're not missing anything. So to transform this feeling of lack and emptiness is when we start to have gratitude for what is. And we start to look and be thankful for what is happening in our lives. We don't know the big picture. We don't know what's happening. So we can just be thankful, start to focus on the things we are thankful for, and then we start to feel full. But when we focus on what we don't have, then that feeling grows as well. It's like you always feel you're going to feed the dark wolf or the white wolf. Whatever we feed grows. So if I look at what is lacking in my life, that lack grows. If I focus on what I'm thankful and grateful for, then that gratitude and things to be grateful for grows. So we're very powerful that way. And then lastly, we've got a master card number in the full moon. So, like I was talking about in these cycles here, we get to question what makes us feel full. The wonderful cycles of life, like I was talking about here, it teaches us that when the moon is full, our emotions are amplified. And during the full moon, it's like when you think something is supposed to make you full and fulfilled, and then you get it and it doesn't, it allows us to, it comes back to this lack when that the moon starts to change, and that the shadows come and the light starts to drift away. It allows us to look at it and go, okay, I thought that was going to make me feel whole, but now I don't. It doesn't stick around. It might be a short term, oh, look, there's a full moon and oh, it's gone now. It allows us to learn what I thought was going to make me complete and whole didn't. It might have imitated fullness for a moment, but it really wasn't, and it moved. So it allows us to, really look at, where did we feel we're empty? Where did we feel we're not being fulfilled? And it comes back to this unconditional love. It comes back to the patterns and the cycles. You've been here before. Depending on how old in your life, you learn all these supposed to's, It kind of goes from point to point. And they just dropped into my head, this whole thing of living my dream. I used to think, as I'm growing up, that, okay, once I have this car, this job, in a relationship with someone, this position at work, this higher position at work, making more money. Well, maybe when I make this much money, okay, maybe if I have these additional things, okay, that person didn't make me happy. Maybe this person will. It's always like a carrot in front of that. When this happens in the future, then I'll be happy. But whenever those whens happened, they didn't. And so I was at a point in my life where I was looking at, I want to live my dream. What is my dream? Okay, maybe when, I'm going to have books written and be teaching classes and maybe doing videos and doing all this stuff. And, then I'll feel whole and I'll be living the dream. But I kind of got taken into the future. It's like, whoosh, and I had this vision in my head that of actually being at that point with everything happening. And the funny thing is I saw myself at that point looking at, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? I still wasn't living the dream because the dream kept expanding and expanding and more. I need more. I need more. So, I just posted earlier today, like a little social media post that said, my dream became be here now with the Creator. That's my dream. Because if I'm not being in this moment, enjoying this moment, when those other moments come, I'm not going to be enjoying them because I'm going to be looking at the future ones. So just know that's the message that's coming with these as well. All right. Next, I'm going to pull one last card from this one. This is going to be The Universe Has Got Your Back. As always, a little encouragement, and then I'll pull a little chakra love card to end the reading. All right, what last message do you have, Creator, for the lovely, luminous, bright little shining lights? Make it obvious for us, please. Okay. It's funny, this is the one that came out for the first reading as well. So it says, in any moment, I can surrender to the powerful presence of love through prayer, contemplation, and stillness. Can't make this stuff up. Prayer. And then the last card I'm going to pull here for you is from the Chakra Love deck. And what I've done is I've only because it's based on chakras and we're focusing on the solar plexus chakra, I only pulled the solar plexus cards and there's a balancing cards as well. So those are the ones that'll be in here. What's your final little message for our lovely little bright shining lights? Okay. Manifestation is the fruition of confidence and belief. Manifestation. So I think that really, I feel that works well with the prayer card here too, and with this full moon, because it talks about confidence and belief. And what's amazing is like I was talking about, when you look outside yourself for things, you can't be too confident on the outcomes, but the confident thing, or the thing that you can have confidence in, is knowing that you're unconditionally loved by the creator of all things. And that just kind of solves it all, doesn't it? This love that we're looking for, we find it on the inside, and then we just allow everything else outside of us to appear beautiful. The goddess, Venus, we see love everywhere. The world is a lovely, beautiful place. I did hope this brought a little bit of love and joy and peace into your moments today. And if you did like this video, if you don't mind clicking the little like button below, that does help out my channel, as well as if you subscribe to my channel, that helps it out. And if you click the little alarm button that says, when you click subscribe and select all, then you'll get notified of my future videos as well. So I leave you with much love and peace and joy, and I will pray for you and send you much love. You take care. Welcome to reading number 3. If you chose the beautiful yellow crystal ball, then this reading is for you. So I'll move that on over here. And I thought I'd start off the reading with pulling a card from this Queen of the Moon Oracle deck, because this kind of reminded me of like a full moon. So I thought that would be pretty cool to choose this. So we'll see what overall message to start off with from the creator for you today. All right, creator, what overall message do you have for those that chose the yellow crystal ball? Let's make it obvious for us, please. Whoop. Okay, that's pretty obvious. Beautiful. Even looks like a little crystal ball, doesn't it? There you go. And this one is called Boundaries. It's number 12. And before I read from the little book here, what I'm picking up just intuitively from this, and it's funny because it's, with the crystal ball, I just see like this person here that it's okay to have boundaries, but they don't need to be defenses, which there's a difference between the two. Boundaries is that you can stand up for yourself out of love, and you can say no to things and not agree with things, but you don't have to be a douche about it. Where when you have defenses, then that is can be turned into attacking, and it's kind of like that phrase, give energy to what you're for. You don't have to give energy to what you're against. You can give love. You don't have to give hate. And so that's what I'm really picking up with this. It's like a bubble of love. You're just surrounded with this bubble of love where people can share what they feel about things, and you don't have to defend it. You can just allow them to be, because you're in that bubble where their emotions are just kind of sticking on the outside, and they're not getting into where you're at. There's also an additional message to those that have huge empathic, I guess emotions that come to you. If you're around individuals and you tend to take on their emotions, this is a message as well that how you can kind of better, I wouldn't say better, but how you can put up this gooey type of boundary around you where you don't have to take on everyone's emotions. You still get to be empathic, you still get to be empathetic, but you don't have to take on the emotions as your own, where you have this smooth pond that you are, and maybe someone next to you is having a rough, you don't have to take on that roughness into your pond. You can witness that, that pond over there is really turbulent right now, and I can give them love. I can give them my peace and my calm and my love if they want it. But I don't have to take on all those emotions into my own pond. So a little additional message there for you. I know it helped me because I used to sometimes sit in a restaurant and feel everyone's emotions around me. And sometimes I was almost crying because, there was people that were having such rough times around me. And so I learned to put up that bubble to where I was aware of it, but it didn't influence all mine. All right, boundaries. The little book says about this is Waxing Gibeus 3. Judging what you need and what you don't need allows you to place healthy boundaries. You teach people how to treat you. Judge what is healthy and right for you with clarity and care. Simplify. You can say yes or no with authenticity and clarity. Like I mentioned, you can say no and you can say yes, but you don't have to be a douche about it. In times of sickness, or say the presence of very strong emotions, such as grief, we often naturally simplify. We cut out all the extras that are too hard or too complex at that time. We might not take up an invitation to an event we might have to work at attending. We might only watch a film we know uplifts us. We might only want to see or communicate with friends we know and trust to understand, love, and support us, warts and all. We might only choose to spend the depth of our heart and time with a few people rather than many. And we could be, and we become vastly sensitive to those we now discover take their unfair share of our energy. We might also look to our body more compassionately and eat nourishing foods to heal it, do comforting things for it to recover more easily, or just decide to rest it completely. If we are healthy people, we naturally action a kind of simplicity and a set of boundaries to protect ourselves so we can give ourselves some space to heal. What if we did this all the time? What if we more consciously chose more simply and specifically for the benefit of our own mind, body, and spirit? Yes, life is complex, but it can be richer and more enjoyable if we pare back what is negatively extra and choose a more deliberate and authentic path. We don't need so much fluff and people-pleasing and running about madly and fast food and fast fashion and gossip and hardcore Olympic-level scheduling and stress. We just don't. Look at what you choose to do last time you were forced to simplify. If it was a positive choice, maybe that could be your starting point for something better today. This judgment you made was for you, and it worked. Not all judgment is bad or to be avoided. Every single one of us judges every day. We judge what brand of washing powder to buy, among many. We judge what TV shows is good and what isn't. We vote, which is judgmental. It says we vote, which is a judgment on trust. We have a legal system with a judge. We judge what we will accept and what we will not. If we don't, we do not have values, nor do we have boundaries. Huge issues for some. To simply focus on your own experience and not look outside yourself for justice may all be very nice for gurus, but for those of us who want to be the change they wish to see, I judge, happily, that certain things are unacceptable. So I strive to change those things. People judged that so sorry, I'm having trouble reading today. People judged that slavery wasn't right and involves themselves in change, even to the extent of waging war. People judged that whaling wasn't right, so it's been banned in most countries. We judged that apartheid was not right, and people died to change it. One brave man, Nelson Mandela, was jailed for decades as a result. Boundaries teach people how to treat us, and this is kind of a positive judgment. Wow. Definitely a message for what's going on in our world today with, civil unrest and, voting and, judgments, going to court and everything else. That it's okay to have boundaries. But like I mentioned, I think the overall message is that we don't have to be, like I said, it keeps on coming into my head. We don't have to be douches about it. We don't have to be mean about it. We don't have to be militant about it. We can lovingly have our boundaries and have conversations and make change through standing up for what we believe, but in a loving way. Next, I'm going to pull a card from this stack. That's from an oracle deck I'm working on with the creator. It's the third stack, which you'll see it's in yellow around here, which has to do with the solar plexus chakra, which is what this video is for. So it also is that, what is at the root of our emotions? What is at the root of our emotions? So for the yellow crystal balls, creator, provide us a little extra information on what is at the root of our emotions that we're dealing with today. All right. All right. It's funny, I had a feeling this was going to come up because this is what came up for the reading too. It's all about cycles. It's all about cycles. You'll see the number 8 is at the bottom, and this is the form of an 8. And it's just about our whole process of everything that we go through. We go through the cycles of the moon from the new moon to the full moon. And I'm not going to repeat a lot of what I mentioned in the second one in case you're watching all three of these. So if you want more detail on this one as well, if you go back to the second reading at the beginning, you can get even the more details on that. But it talks about how, when we go from a dark moon to a full moon like this, back to a dark moon, we realize all those disappointments in life that come around not getting what we thought was going to fulfill us. No matter what it is, whether it's relationships or situations or things, no matter what we think will be that full moon for us and fulfill us, as long as it's on the outside, we're going to go through that pattern of looking to the outside and having disappointments. It just comes and it goes and it comes and it goes. And as you experience life, you realize that all those external things become unstable. And the only thing that really fulfills us, is our inner heart. That is what will fulfill us, is when we look inside us to where that unconditional love exists. That's the full moon. That's our fullness and our wholeness is from the inside. So the outside will continually disappoint, because that's what it's designed to do. We came here to experience all those emotions, that contrast. We came here to experience what we're not, so that we could more fully understand who we are. So that's why there's this whole world of black and white contrast. All right. And again, I'm going to pull some cards from, this is a little mini deck of my Oracle deck that I'm working on. So we'll pull for some additional clarification. What other messages the Creator has for you today, you yellow crystal balls? All right. What additional messages and clarification do you have for us, Creator? What would you like us to know to help us today for our highest experience, our highest vibration? All right. Those wanted to happen there, so we will look at these. All right. So the first one is Prayer Warrior. And what's interesting is the second reading was about prayer. So I really feel if you chose number 3 and didn't listen to number 2, I really feel that the second reading will help you as well. Because what a prayer warrior is all about is that one of the I think one of the greatest, most powerful ways that we can influence the world is through our prayer for others. So much of the external things are outside of our control, and so many of these, ego characters that we interact with all over, in our lives every day. No one wants to be told what to do or what we should do, and here's some advice. Most of the fear egos that, these characters that we play in this world, we like to learn the hard way, and none of us like to be told that, even hinted at that we're doing something wrong, because we judge ourselves and then find ourselves unlovable. So a lot of our fear ego is all about trying to control the external world, trying to, like I mentioned, with these cycles, be with the people that I think I should be with, be in the situations I think I should be in, and have the things I think I should have, and all our energy is focused on obtaining those. But where prayer comes in is when my heart, is triggered for other people, when I see people going through those fear-based emotions of either it's anger or, depression and sadness, and, they feel like they're lacking something, and that they're, just going through some sort of misery, that unconditional love inside us, this love that we really are, that's our true essence. When our minds see suffering in the world, it triggers and wants to help. And so much of those external things, we can't do anything to help, or the people don't want our help. And so what we do is, when we have all that energy building up inside us and have that need to help, and we feel that tightness in our chest because we're not able to help, then we can pray and we can send love to a situation. We can send unconditional love to the situation. I have found that when I sent love to a situation, and I wanted it to result in a certain way, and I wanted that person to change, or I wanted that circumstance to change, and that didn't help my heart. My heart still ached because it was still looking for certain outcomes to happen. But when I let all the outcomes go in hand, in my little sheriff's badge of the universe, and say, God, I don't think you need my help. So instead, what I'm going to do is hand in my badge, and I'm going to say, thy will be done. And I'm going to send love, unconditional love, to a situation, so that this love will surround the situation, and it'll unfold for the highest good and highest experience, the highest vibration for that situation. And then you can feel free. And then 10 minutes later, when I take that badge back and start feeling that pressure again, I can turn it back in and send love again, over and over, like a cycle. All right. And then the next card here is the Saturn card, which I'll show that to you so you can read that. It's funny because this is about control. The planet Saturn is about control. It's how I order things, how I work, my self-discipline, my limitations. And how crazy is that? Boundaries. You can't make that up. See? Boundaries. The planet Saturn has, it rules over the zodiac sign of Capricorn and Aquarius. So if you're a Capricorn or Aquarius or have those in your chart, then that can mean something for you, or if, those individuals, if that's the situation where you feel out of control in. Also the dates, like a Capricorn usually is between 12/22 and January 19th. Or January 20th to February 18th. So if any of those dates have anything for you, then that is just an additional message for you, that this message is specifically for you or for anything that happened between those dates. Capricorns are about security, authority, kind of father figure, obstacles, burdens, where Aquarians are more about nourishing things, harmony. They're a powerhouse, or group growth. So that's just hilarious. Everything I talk about boundaries, this is just an affirmation that this is right on the money. And then the third one is fight. And this is so funny because I talked about so much of this when I was talking about this card with boundaries. We don't have to fight and defend. This card talks about it's the part of fight or flight. Whenever we're in fear, you either want to fight or run. And the shield in here talks about being defensive. And then the knives, of course, are about attacking. So when I was talking about boundaries earlier, you can have boundaries, and it doesn't mean that you have to defend or become defensive. You can have your walls up. If someone has, and I don't mean walls like just more that protection, that force field around you, because you can allow people to communicate how they're feeling about a situation, but you don't have to defend yours. You can just allow them to be, because that's what you would appreciate as well, right? You would want to be able to share what you're feeling and people to go, okay, I see where you're coming from, rather than you're wrong, you are wrong, and then realize that, oh, there's 3 fingers pointing back at me. So the whole thing with boundaries is that it's okay to believe what we believe ourselves, and we can give that same respect and that same love to go, you know what? I allow them to believe and act and do whatever they want to do as well. And as I read in that little book, sometimes people's beliefs hinge and cause pain and death in others. And those are the situations where, out of love, we can stand up and, in loving ways, make change in the world. And that's not fighting. We can sit down and listen to one another. We can sit down and try to understand where other people are coming from. But when I mentioned earlier, if you put up walls instead of boundaries, if you have a wall up, you can't hear anything through, because all you hear is mumbling through a big brick wall, right? It's like, you're like, what do they say? I'm sure they're saying something mean. Attack! All right. Lastly, I'm going to pull a card from here. The Universe has got your back card, because these are usually uplifting messages that just help us with what we're going through. And then I'm also going to pick a little chakra love card for the last piece, the last message. All right. And one more. All right, what's your final message, Forest Creator, for those that picked the yellow crystal ball? All right, just make it clear for us, please. Make it obvious for us, please. Okay, there we go. Look at that, a giant crystal yellow ball. When I'm connected to my joyful presence, I attract support from the universe. Connect to our joyful presence. Beautiful. And then lastly, I'll pull one of these Chakra Love cards here. And I only pulled, since this video was about the solar plexus chakra, I only have the solar plexus cards in here plus the balancing chakra cards. So that's why there's only a few to choose from here. We'll see what your final message is. All right, we'll cut it in the middle and pick this one. Yep, and this is one of the balancing chakra cards here. If you can read that. It says, out of chaos comes creation. And it talks about cycles here on the bottom. Right here, cycles, which was cycles. Yep, and the other one just mentions some crystals that come with that. But so out of chaos comes creation, which talks about those cycles. So out of chaos we learn and we grow. That's that whole process of the cycles, like I mentioned. What a wonderful end to the message here. I just love it when things just fall into place. Well, I hope this message brought you some joy and some peace and love into these moments. If you did, if you don't mind hitting the like button down below, that helps out my channel, as well as subscribing and clicking the little be notified when the next videos come out. And all I can do is just send you much love, much peace, and much joy. And just enjoy the moments, because you are loved. You take care.